Make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell if you want to get the videos as soon as they upload. YouTube, what up? Welcome back to another Pounds 978 custom video, and finally here is the long-awaited animated series Venom. Well, the Spider-Man animated series Venom, straight out of the cartoon. I think it looks pretty accurate. Been wanting to make this for a long time. It was on the to-do list. Everyone wanted me to make it since making the movie Venom, and finally I'm happy to get it done. Happy to show you guys. If I had to be honest, some of you already know I was never really a fan of this design. It was always confusing to see the shading and why they went with red and blue. But now, as I'm more familiar with it, I think it's pretty cool, and I'll get into that a little deeper later on in the video. Here are some alternate heads for Venom, all created except one by the Collector's Place, 3D sculpted. I painted them, and the one with the head with the open mouth and the face, that's actually Cottonmouth, and we'll get into that also later in the video, but that's the only one the Collector's Place didn't create. But I'll put his name in the description. If you want, you can hit him up. I believe he has a few heads in stock right now, so hit up the Collector's Place on Instagram and go get those heads. Here's the back side. The logo entirely on his back and on his butterfly joints. Had to do it that way in order to complete the logo. One side of Venom is mainly blue with red highlights, and the other side is mainly red with blue highlights. And that's directly from the 1994 The Spider-Man animated series Venom. One side was red, the other side was blue, and that was one thing that confused me. I always thought it was lighting. It turns out that's not the case, because even when Venom is inside, he's still red and blue. I've had this debate with several people. A lot of people think that it's just the lighting from the environment, but personally I think it's part of the character design. This Venom does come with a few heads, as you've seen already. It's easy as just popping it off and popping it on. Good thing about the Collector's Place is he does have various sculpts. He has this open mouth without the tongue showing that is also accurate to the cartoon, which could probably go for the main head because Venom talks a lot in this cartoon, and he doesn't always show his tongue unless he's like trying to scare you. So I think this is probably the most reasonable head if you had to pick out of the three. But of course, most people are gonna like the one with the tongue because it just looks the most badass, if I had to say. But you could probably get them all for a good price if you hit up the Collector's Place. Tell them I sent you. Get them all for a good price because you need all of them. You can't have one and feel left out when you know there are others out there. So I would just go get all three heads and make the most out of the Venom. This one you can't get from the Collector's Place. I sculpted over the Cottonmouth head myself a long time ago for another custom that I didn't like. I actually paid to cast these heads. I got like 10 of them, and I never really liked them, and I kept them in the stash for a long time, but I decided to paint one because I saw an image of Eddie Brock in Venom with the mouth open, and I thought this head would be perfect. So it turns out it is not as accurate as I like it to be. The eye shape is different, but it works. This head you can get from the Collector's Place. He also has unmasked Eddie Brock heads. But before, this had a cigarette in its mouth that I painted really nice, but it ended up breaking, which is probably for the best because kids, no smoking. But the head is accurate to the show, so there you go. 3 cool heads. This is what I posted on Instagram and everyone was liking it, so I decided to show you guys. Decided to go with the bigger, beefier body. Everyone's been asking me to use Omega Red for Venom, and I always declined. I made a Wolverine Venom once, but never really wanted to make a plain Venom on it. Until this Venom came around, I thought it would be the perfect recipe. However, this is not Omega Red. This is the Warpath body, which is the same thing except the lower legs, the calves, had those hanging threads on the boots. And once you remove them, you can see that it was molded specifically for that sculpt. So you had to add sculpt if you wanted to make that look right. And that's just what I did. I do have some open hands, but they don't belong to this custom. They belong to another custom. It's from the movie Venom, but the hands fit so perfectly. So if you do have yourself a movie Venom hands, and the reason why I say you, because I'll probably raffle this thing off, but it looks really great with open hands, but I don't have any to use. So if you end up getting this custom and you have open hands and you want me to paint them, I'll do it free of charge. But you have to paint the hands to look like this Venom with the red and blue in order to make it match. Another quick look of the heads up close. All 5 of the heads that will come with the figure. Of course, the only Spider-Man you're going to need with this Venom is the retro card. It sucks. I accidentally opened my only retro carded Spider-Man, and you see I had to finally just open them here. But you can see that they are both nicely sized as far as accuracy of the cartoon goes. Venom is super big. Spider-Man is not so small, and I think it looks really nice. I mean, it's only right for Hasbro to give us one of these Venoms. They gave us the Spider-Man. They're giving us all these retro carded figures. Hopefully, Venom is in there. Reminds me of that scene in the cartoon.
You don't understand, Brock. It doesn't just bond with you, it takes over. Makes you do what it wants. You've got to separate from it.
Separate? We're made for each other. Brock's rage and vengefulness made us a perfect breeding ground. Far better than you, Parker.
Brock, you've got to get rid of it.
Why? We're now part of a life force that has existed since the dawn of time. Imagine what you've turned down, Parker.
Venom sounded like a jealous girlfriend in this scene. Imagine what you turned down. My car, my house, our future, our everything. You had it all with me. You can never find better. That's exactly what he sounded like right here. All this knowledge we'll give to Eddie Brock. You don't deserve it. Years and years of survival. That's what he had. That's what it just reminded me of. Like, you could have had this, but now you can't. It's gone to the next man. But you can see the logo is also a little different than the traditional Venom logo. It has these blocks that connect the first and second line. And I think that's pretty unique. I wanted to make this Venom as accurate as I can. I saw another one a while back, and in the process of making this, I didn't look at that one at all because I didn't want mine to resemble that. A lot of people have tried their hand at making this Venom, but this is probably the coolest one I've seen. So I want to shout out Brody Bruce for making it. But I also, again, didn't want to look at it when I was making mine because I wanted mine to look completely different and more like the cartoon. So the only thing I looked at were the cartoon images. Like some of the shading, I wanted to do the cell shading the cartoon had. So I just tried to follow that as best as I could. But there were people saying, oh, you should just airbrush it. And you just wouldn't get the same effect with an airbrush. This Venom's design is very specific. Like there's red under the blue and blue under the red. But like any other Marvel legend, feel free to pose this guy any way you want. The head does go all the way up. Looks down pretty cool. Left, right, you get some pivot. The shoulders go up as much as that. Butterflies go all the way back, painted all the way back and forward. So feel free to move that around. There's only one line on the back of those butterfly joints, but that's all you really need. It's kind of ugly, I'm not going to lie to you, but it is what it is. Arms go around, biceps swivel, double jointed elbows as usual. They go about that far. Wrist hinge and swivel. You get an ab crunch that's functional. A waist swivel that's very functional. It's painted all the way up. Thigh split, of course. You guys know all this stuff. Thigh swivel, double jointed knees, the calf rotation, ankle pivot, ankle hinge. I do this on camera to show you that you can move it around. Not a great pose. I wouldn't call it vanilla. I'd say it's like strawberry. Has a little bit of flavor. Here's what I want to do though. You can take the Hyperion Venom that Hasbro gave us and get these heads from the collector's place and modify them to put them in. Mine's not going to fit because I have it specifically for this body, but the point is that you can get these heads, put them on this body that's already pretty much Venom, and just add the red and blue lines, and you'll have yourself an animated series Venom. Trust me, it'll work. If you want, we can make a tutorial. I'll take an extra Venom. I don't have an extra Venom. I only have two. This is my pork rind figure, but if I get an extra Venom, we can just add red and blue lines, make a tutorial, and you can get your heads from the collector's place and have your own animated series until Hasbro decides to give us one. Trust me, I think it'll work. Here's some tiny differences in the Venom logos. The original logo on the right, which is again different too because I don't have the tips with the spikes at the top. But anyway, the differences here are the blocks that connect the first and second line on the animated series. Just for fun, if you shine a red light, all you'll see is the red side or anything that's painted red. But if you shine the blue light, you'll see all the blue. So red, you'll see red, blue, you'll see blue. It's almost like those 3D glasses. Here's a quick video of the head as soon as I painted it. Not the greatest with eyes and stuff, but I think it looks cool. Maybe because it's a cartoon, so it doesn't have to look so realistic, but I'm gonna have to work on my eyes a little bit. These are pretty easy to paint, so I recommend hit up the collector's place for your Venom heads and make a Venom. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this Venom? Do you think Hasbro needs to give us one? I swear I thought we were getting one, but instead we got a Spider-Man 2099. Not mad about that either. But we definitely need a Venom from the animated series, so I'm happy to have this one at least but this one will be going up for raffle real soon, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe, click that notification bell if you want to get the videos as soon as they upload, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
But if you choose to subscribe, you the man. Yes, you. Everyone below in the comments, yes, you too. Thank you very much for showing me love. Who knew? It's ironic how we think out the box for you too, right?
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody.